On July 11th, 2026, LeBron James' agent, Rich Paul, made it public that LeBron James is not chasing a ring. In other words, he's not actively looking to join a team that are favorites to win a championship. Now that's cool and everything, but what if I told you, I think they're full of shit? Let's close our eyes for a second and imagine, in the basketball GOAT's 24th NBA season, he will seek to land on a team in hopes of one last championship, his 5th ring. Now, open your eyes real quick and tell me which team you just saw LeBron accomplish this theatrical feat with. Was it the Cavaliers, with LeBron winning one last title for the city of Cleveland before officially retiring? Was it the Warriors, having LeBron team up with Curry and winning them both a 5th ring? Or was it even the Heat, having LeBron team up with Giannis and Bam to brute force their way through a weak Eastern Conference? Now, what if I told you it's none of those? Okay, I should probably talk about Cleveland first, as with each passing day, it seems more and more likely to be LeBron's final resting place. Would it be cool if LeBron returned to Cleveland one last time? Sure. I'm all for the symbolism and meaning it holds, not only to LeBron as a player, but Cleveland as a city. So what does Cleveland have to offer? Well, with LeBron James in the starting lineup, the Cavs' 2027 starting 5 will most likely look something like this. On the topic of Harden, depending on what his new multi-year deal is worth, LeBron could be making either $6.1 million on a tax mid-level exception or $3.9 million on a vet minimum contract. That $6.1 million exception is going to stand out to LeBron, and if Rich Paul is right and LeBron isn't chasing a ring, I can expect him to sign that mid-level exception. However, Rich Paul did lie, and I hate to break it to LeBron, but this team is not a championship caliber one. A couple months ago, we watched this team completely fall apart in the conference finals, and after years of disappointment from this Cavaliers team, including a year where they were first seeds and got eliminated in the second round, I doubt this Cavs team with the addition of a 41-year-old LeBron can get this done. As much as some want to believe in LeBron to carry the Cavs one last time, I just don't believe he has the gas in him to do so. If we were to look at it from a narrative perspective, LeBron, after years of playoff disappointments with the Lakers, leaves in hopes of joining the very team he rivaled for years in search of a ring. Even if he were to get a ring in Golden State, who would respect it? Certainly not LeBron fans, because he won it with Curry, and certainly not LeBron haters, because he won it with Curry. I just don't think that the NBA world at large would support this decision, and I feel like LeBron knows that. Now let's look at it from a player's perspective. It's LeBron's last season, and he just wants to have fun, which is something I completely respect. Sometimes people forget basketball is a game, and you're meant to have fun playing it. However, again, I don't think LeBron is stupid. He knows how it would look, and I don't think he's willing to throw away his legacy for one season of Curry lobs. As for the actual team itself, not that good. After opting out of his contracts in hope of recruiting LeBron, Draymond's currently floating in NBA limbo. Curry's still a great player, but health issues are becoming more and more apparent, plus his ability to lead a championship contending team is waning with each passing year. Other than that, there's Jimmy Butler, I guess? Through and through, even if they were to make insane moves like trading for Anthony Davis, this is not a championship winning team. Looking at the starting 5 for the Miami Heat were LeBron to join, it looks like a match made in heaven. Surrounding LeBron with a sharpshooting point guard and 2 explosive 7-footers, you'd think this team would get a lot done. And while I don't think you'd be totally wrong, I think there's one main weakness that any team in the league could exploit if their time came: their spacing. To make a long story short, Giannis and Bam aren't great shooters and would prefer if they could keep their game within 10 feet of the basket. Meanwhile, LeBron has also shown this past season that he may not be the consistent three-point shooter he had made himself into since 2017. These two factors could result in a spacing disaster for the Heat, with 3 of their starting 5 being guys that can't space the floor very well. Will I say this stands in the way of them winning a ring? Not entirely. At this point, I'm of the belief that anything is possible in the NBA, and even if I think this is a huge weakness in their game, it's completely possible it doesn't show up at all when they actually suit up. However, that doesn't mean I think LeBron's best chance at a ring is in Miami. This team has weaknesses they need time to fix, time I simply don't think LeBron has in his career. My verdict is that this is not a championship winning team. So, who is? Who's LeBron's best chance at a ring who also has a real chance of signing him in the first place? Hear me out. I've heard just about all there is to hear about this team's problems. Embiid's availability and his injury proneness, Jaylen Brown's apparent ego after his rough split with the Celtics, and Nick Nurse being Nick Nurse. However, I'm confident in saying I don't think any of it would really matter if LeBron was on the team. Though, let's face the problems head on instead of just brushing them aside. Number 1, Embiid's injury history. You can't really talk 76ers unless you mention this, though as long as Embiid isn't the first option playing 36 minutes a game, I think he could be a great cog in a championship roster. Plus, it's very helpful that Tyrese Maxey, Jaylen Brown, and LeBron James could all be that number 1 option on any given night while Embiid plays his part and stays away from overworking himself. Might I remind you that in 38 games played last year, Embiid averaged 27 points per game on 31 minutes a night. This man is still an extremely underrated issue in today's NBA. Number 2, will Jaylen Brown be as good off ball as he was on ball last year? It seemed basically impossible to escape the Jaylen Brown hype train last season, as for a large portion he was having an MVP caliber year, all while his co-star Jason Tatum was out with the torn ACL. Clearly Jaylen Brown strives on teams where he's the primary ball handler, and I actually think this is the perfect team for him to do that. With LeBron aging out of being the primary ball handler and becoming more of a pass first type player, Joel Embiid needing a primary ball handler to avoid injury, and VJ Edgecombe being too young to be a ball-dominant guard, I think Jaylen Brown has a great opportunity to be the first option on a team bursting with talent. The only issue I think could come from this is Tyrese Maxey. Do I think Jaylen Brown is a better first option than Tyrese Maxey? I'm not sure, and depending how the season starts, the 76ers may choose who they'd rather have as their first option. But for the hypothetical of LeBron joining, I'd hope Jaylen Brown can put up MVP numbers again and propel the 76ers to a top 3 seed much like he did with the Celtics last year. And number 3, there isn't much narrative reason for LeBron to go to Philadelphia. While there were strong narrative reasons for the Cavaliers and Heat being LeBron's final destination, Philly lacks that. Despite a well-worded persuasion by Eagles running back Saquon Barkley, where he says Philadelphia is one of the greatest sports towns in the world and that LeBron would be remembered forever if he were to bring a championship to Philadelphia, if I were LeBron, I wouldn't be too optimistic on how this would reflect on my legacy. Though I'm not LeBron. I don't know how LeBron's brain works, and he probably doesn't even consider this an issue, much less a deciding factor on where he spends his last couple of years. So despite these relatively minor issues, I think the 76ers are easily LeBron's best chance at a ring out of all the teams I talked about in this video. And if the time comes where LeBron signs to a new team and it's none of these, then this video becomes very obsolete. But if he does sign with one of these teams, just know my predictions are never false. Well, you made it to the outro. Thanks for watching till the end of this video. This video is the first video I've put out in like a year, so I'll get better with that. I'm gonna be more consistent. My next video should be explaining that. But yeah, thanks for enjoying this video and liking it and subscribing like I know you already did, and bye.